A special National Congress today. The meeting, which was said to be held last week, was postponed in respect of the 10-day national period of mourning and burial of President Nelson Mandela. Numsa has been at the forefront of the fight to reinstate suspended General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi and has been vocal about the challenges that are plaguing Cosatu. Now, in our Cape Town studio to talk to us about the issues surrounding Numsa and their relationship with Cosatu is Cape Town Chamber of Commerce legal advisor Michael Bagraim. Good morning, Michael. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thank you ever so much. This is a very important topic.
Indeed it is. Just tell us about the deliberations. What are your expectations for the next couple of days?
Well, this is a groundbreaking conference. Our expectations are many and varied. In particular, one needs to understand that Numsa, being at the forefront of the Vavi fight, is the largest affiliate to Cosatu. They've got over 330,000 members in that, which puts them basically at the helm of Cosatu. That's the first step. The second thing is that Numsa has been hamstrung to a large degree when their leadership have had an internal fight. They've not been able to recruit members outside of their traditional union space. They've been calling for months for a debate on the affiliation to ANC. They've also been calling for months for a debate on their affiliation to the Communist Party. There's a lot of politics here. This is really interesting for the country. All of us are going to be affected by the decisions that they're going to make. This could, to a large degree, enhance another political party if they have that fallout with the ANC. They could even possibly open up the doors of a new party, which we are expecting to see in due course. And of course, the biggest and the most important thing is they might form a new umbrella body of trade unions in South Africa, which will be the first in many, many years. And I suspect that probably be the right thing for the workers at the end of the day. We need to get back to bread and butter issues, as we've seen with the fallout on UMCU, where many of the Cosatu affiliates were affected by UMCU. So there's going to be lots of stuff happening. It's going to be very exciting. All of us in the labor law field are waiting with bated breaths as to hear what's going to come out of this. They're going to be deliberating for over 3 days, and I know that whatever they come out with is going to be send shockwaves through the union movement, probably in the whole of Southern Africa.
You talk about that. Let's talk about the likelihood of what you're talking about, and then the levels of frustration within Numsa.
Yeah, Numsa's feeling very much hamstrung by, obviously, the umbrella body Cosatu, and I think they are probably looking at the strains and saying, we need to get out of here, we need to row our own canoe, and I understand that, and I think it's a good thing, and I think there's a strong likelihood of that. Obviously, the secondary debate is the affiliation to the ANC. Are they just a labor desk for a political party? And I don't think that's fair on the workers themselves. I'm not sure how likely that is at this election. It's only around the corner. It's coming up in April. So it's probably too soon for them to fall out with the ANC. But clearly, by the next elections in 4 years' time, we're going to see that fallout happening big time. The workers themselves are feeling that the unions have lost sight of the bread and butter issues. They've lost sight of the fact that workers need bigger increases. They need their terms and conditions properly managed and watched and overseen by the trade unions. And they don't want trade unions to get involved too much in politics and start worrying about, for instance, what happens in the Middle East, like Cosatu's been spending most of its time worrying about that, instead of real bread and butter issues. And workers in this country probably deserve better than being nobbled by a Cosatu umbrella body which is more interested in politics as opposed to real workerist issues. Yes, this is a very, very important Congress that they're putting on now. And the country's been, for instance, blindsided and not seen much of this. Yes, we've been in 10 days of mourning, but we need to start watching what's going on here, because it's going to affect every single person, especially those at the workplace.
You spoke earlier that whatever outcome would send shockwaves through the country. Just sketch a few of the scenarios that you could see play out, and what would you see as the worst case scenario?
Yeah, what I can see is that Numsa would probably and have a strong contingent calling for a breakup of Cosatu and forming their own umbrella body. This means that it puts Cosatu against a new umbrella body put up by Numsa, and they will start then taking members away from other unions. It's going to affect every single industry, and because of that we could possibly see more strikes early on in the new year. It's a bit late now in terms of the end of the year. Many businesses are closing, and it's only the industry that's affecting tourism that is really going to be pushing now. But I suspect that in February, March next year, we're going to see much more strikes. There'll be a lot of strife as Numsa start moving in to the traditional areas controlled by NUM, the National Union of Mine Workers, where Numsa can effectively find many members, and they'll start looking at all the smaller unions who are affiliated to Cosatu. We're going to see a lot of that early on in 2014. What's also interesting is that the politics is going to be upped. As we all know, we've got this election coming up, and the ANC to a large degree is calling the shots and telling Cosatu what to do and where to vote, how to vote, and how to run the elections. And I think Numsa are feeling that they're being controlled by Big Brother, and they don't want that. They want to bring the workers' issues back onto the table. They're not really interested in e-tolling. They want that to go away. They're not interested in the youth wage subsidy. They want that to go away. And these are all cornerstones of ANC policy. And this e-tolling, for instance, has become a very emotional and very strong issue within Numsa's leadership and the membership. Right? The people at the coalface are feeling this, and they're feeling that the ANC is telling them what to do. It's almost like the tail wagging the dog. And that's not fair and not right. Workers need to have their own say and need to, as I said before, row their own ship. So we're expecting a lot of this to happen early on in the new year, but this Congress now will tell us what path they're going to take. And if Numsa's brave and their leadership sticks to its morals, they're going to do that.
Zwelinzima Vavi, the discussions will also be, I suppose, escalating around him over the next couple of days. If so, how do you see that? Well,
as you know, Numsa has launched a court application against Cosatu to get them to bring Vavi back. If Numsa pulls out of Cosatu, obviously it destroys Vavi's case in the sense that they're in a different umbrella body, and they'll probably bring Vavi in to lead that. So Vavi is a man that we need to watch in the future. I think he's got a great political future ahead of him, yes, of a socialist nature, but he's going to push people like Malema off center stage when it comes to the left wing, because Numsa is a left-wing organization, and I think they are political players of note for the future, and I think Vavi is going to go to the helm of that.
Just finally, do you think the scenario that played out around Vavi could have been handled a little bit better?
Yes, it probably could have. One doesn't ever want any organization to hang its dirty washing up for the public to see. They should actually control these things from within. As a lawyer, I believe they should have actually had some sort of internal arbitration clause and kept it reasonably confidential. Vavi is at the helm of that organization, and very seldom do you see businesses having their spats between the CEO and the organization held up for the public to see. And I think they should have done that up front. It's a lesson to be learned for the future. Vavi is a powerful man. He's not going away, and he's going to take them on in every forum he can find. And I think he might be one of the masterminds behind the Numsa pullout.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning from Cape Town. That is the Cape Town Chamber of Commerce legal advisor, Michael Bagraim.